The job sounds fake because your brain is trying to protect you. Leech Collector. That sounds like a person who puts a few slimy creatures in a jar and sells them to a doctor. That is almost correct. Except the jar is empty at sunrise, the doctor wants more, and the easiest bait in the marsh is you. In the 19th century, when medicine was still comfortable saying, "Have we tried removing some blood?" leeches became valuable. Doctors wanted them. Apothecaries stored them. Patients feared them. And someone had to go into the swamp and convince the worms with teeth to clock in. 19th century medicine had incredible confidence for something that kept answering every question with less blood. Today, that someone is you. By the end of this day, you will understand why this job was not just disgusting, it turned your body into equipment. By sunset, you will carry their bites, their bleeding, and the strange realization that medicine has been renting your legs all day. This is worked to death. We do not read history from a safe distance. We step inside it. And today, your job is to walk into a marsh and come out lighter. Your morning begins before the sun has warmed the water. The field is gray. The reeds are wet. Mist sits over the marsh like the land is trying to hide what it knows. You carry a wooden box, a small jar, cloth strips, and the calm expression of someone who has not yet admitted their career depends on being delicious. Some collectors use old horses or cattle as bait. Very scientific. You lead a tired animal into the water and let nature make terrible business decisions. But animals have value, and you, apparently, have availability. That is the quiet mathematics of poverty. When the animal is worth more than your comfort, your legs become the cheaper option. So today, the bait has your name. You roll up your trousers. Every sensible part of your body files a formal complaint. You step into the water. Cold climbs your legs. Mud takes your feet, and something moves near your ankle. For a second you pray it is only a frog. A sad prayer when a frog is the good option. The first leech finds you slowly. It does not rush. It has confidence. This is not a hunter chasing prey. This is a customer arriving at a tavern that forgot to lock the door. Touches your skin, searches, attaches, and begins to feed. Congratulations. You are now both worker and workplace. The absurd part is that this is medicine. Somewhere in town, a feverish patient, or a doctor with too much imagination, is waiting for these leeches. Bloodletting has been used for centuries, still treated as a solution to far too many problems, and the demand is so intense that leeches are no longer just creatures in water. They are medical inventory. Too hot? Remove blood. Too weak? Remove blood. Still alive? Excellent, we have more leeches. The doctor calls it treatment. The leech calls it lunch. You call it Tuesday. Medicine has the energy of a man trying to fix every door with a spoon. But doctors demand leeches, so you stand in the marsh and provide them. One attaches behind your knee. Another finds your calf. A third explores your ankle with the enthusiasm of a tax collector. Pull too early and you may damage the leech. Let it feed and it becomes easier to collect. This is the kind of professional knowledge that makes a person wonder what went wrong in civilization. When a leech swells with blood, you remove it carefully and drop it into the jar. Plop. That sound is money. Not good money, not noble money, but money. This is where the job turns cruel. The leech is not valuable because it loves you, it is valuable because it wants blood, and your job is to prove it. By mid-morning, your legs are decorated with small dark commas, each one a tiny punctuation mark in a sentence your body did not agree to write. You try to keep count, then lose track fast because a person who counts too closely starts to feel every single bite. The reeds scrape your hands. Your feet sink deeper. Every step makes a soft sucking noise, as if the earth wants a portion too. A boy from the village asks if it hurts. Only if you think about it, you say. Terrible advice, but he nods anyway because that is how bad ideas get passed down, one confident lie at a time. Be honest. If stopping sickness meant standing in a marsh and letting leeches eat breakfast on your legs, how many minutes would you last before suddenly respecting modern medicine? Everyone is brave until the ankle starts moving. Near noon, the sun burns through the mist. That sounds pleasant if you have never met a marsh with opinions. Warmth wakes it. More insects appear. The smell thickens. The water feels less like water and more like a decision you regret. You check the jar. It is alive with movement, a box of medicine and a box of mouths at once. The apothecary will inspect them later like a man judging apples at market. Too small. Too weak. Try again. Imagine being rejected after donating blood to a worm. Then one attaches higher on your leg, under the folded cloth, and you feel the pull before you find it. Panic flashes hot through your chest, not because one leech is deadly, but because you realize how many things can touch you in this water before you know they are there. You sit on the bank and remove them. Some wounds keep bleeding after the leech is gone, and that is the point medically and the problem personally. You wrap cloth around your leg. Red blooms through it slowly. Very professional. Very decorative. By afternoon, you are weaker than you were in the morning. Not dramatically, but worse in a quieter way. A small dizziness. A dull headache. The strange embarrassment of being harvested by your own job. And still, you go back in because the jar is not full and the doctor wants more. Nobody says the system is cruel. They say the jar is not full. Every bad system survives by finding someone tired enough to keep participating. Late in the day, you reach the apothecary. He does not ask how your legs are because nobody asks a basket how the apples felt. He lifts the jar, studies the leeches, and nods. Useful. Not brave. Not injured. Just useful. He pays you. You look at the coins, then at your legs. The coins are dry. That feels unfair, but both are lighter than they were this morning. On the walk home, people pass without interest. They will think about leeches when a doctor places one on a patient's skin, never about the person who stood in cold mud and invited it to feed first. The patient is the customer. The doctor is the authority. The leech is the medicine. You are the part nobody includes in the story. Near your door, you unwrap one cloth. A thin line of blood runs down your leg. Not enough to kill you, but enough to remind you that none of this was imaginary. Only at the end of the day do you understand what the job really was. Not collecting, not walking, not even bleeding. Offering. The oldest kind of offering. A poor body placed between someone else's fear and someone else's profit. The Leech Collector offered their own body to a medical system that believed sickness could be drained away, one mouth at a time, stepping into the marsh so someone else could lie in a bed and call it treatment. That is why this was one of history's worst jobs. Not because leeches are monsters, they are only doing what leeches do. At least the leech is honest about what it wants. It was terrible because the human body became the tool, the bait, and sometimes the cost. Medicine wanted blood, so someone poor, cold, and tired went outside and offered their legs first. Now that you know what the job actually cost, here is a question worth sitting with. Put your price in the comments. One marsh, one jar, your own legs as bait, how much would it take? If your honest answer is absolutely not, congratulations, your survival instincts are stronger than 19th century medicine. Subscribe, like the video, and leave a single heart for the people who fed the cure before anyone else could sell it. Costs nothing, and it helps bring the next worst job back from the dead.